You are making $150,000, maybe even $200,000 a year, but by the 25th of the month, you are quietly sweating. By the 25th of the month, you are quietly sweating. You are staring at a premium credit card balance that just keeps rolling over, choosing between fully funding your retirement account or covering the massive hidden costs of your successful lifestyle. You did everything society asked of you. You went to the right school, you grinded through the 60-hour weeks, and you look spectacular on paper. But when you look at your actual liquid net worth, it is a total ghost town. Welcome to the Henry Paradox. You are a high earner, not rich yet. If this sounds painfully familiar, you are not alone. To understand exactly why this is happening, picture two completely different remote professionals who happen to share the exact same gross income of $185,000. Let us call them Marcus and Sarah. Marcus is a senior UX designer working remotely from a sun-drenched high-rise condo in Austin. Look at his daily routine, and you see the absolute blueprint of modern American success. He is taking calls from a motorized standing desk, driving a leased $85,000 electric SUV to his boutique gym, and dropping casual hints in the team chat about his upcoming winter retreat to Tulum. But behind that glossy, perfectly curated Zoom background, Marcus is quietly suffocating. He's carrying a massive mortgage he can barely float, $22,000 in revolving high-interest debt from furnishing his aesthetic lifestyle, and he checks his portfolio in a cold sweat every time the market twitches. His actual net worth is a fragile $84,000. Now, consider Sarah. She is a remote cybersecurity consultant based out of a quiet suburb in Ohio. Observe her lifestyle, and you wouldn't guess she makes anywhere near $200,000 a year. She works from a reliable laptop at a dining table she bought secondhand. She drives a 6-year-old vehicle she paid off years ago, and she takes modest hiking trips to national parks instead of chasing resort stays engineered for social media validation. But Sarah hasn't stressed over a credit card bill in a decade. Her investment accounts just effortlessly crossed $1.4 million. Different industries, different cities, identical take-home pay. One built an impenetrable fortress of wealth, while the other financed a very expensive, high-definition cage. The truth is, Marcus isn't the victim of some shadowy financial extraction machine. He is simply trapped on the lifestyle optimization treadmill. Wall Street absolutely loves a high earner who voluntarily spends every dime they make, because it turns your massive salary into a perfectly designed pipeline to fund their corporate earnings. So how exactly are you draining your own accounts? Let us break down the 10 psychological blind spots keeping high earners completely broke. Pay close attention to the order here, because blind spot 10 is the silent, catastrophic mistake that will completely wipe out everything you have worked your entire life to build. Stick with me through all 10, because surviving that final hurdle is the absolute prerequisite to unlocking the ultimate wealth-building secret at the end. We will start with the lifestyle creep and ego taxes. This is the "I earned this" premium you gladly volunteer to pay just to look the part. Blind spot 1, the Diderot upgrade. You get a $20,000 promotion, and suddenly your perfectly fine 5-year-old sedan feels a little embarrassing in the executive parking lot. So you upgrade to a luxury SUV. But now, parked in front of your modest apartment, the car looks completely out of place. So you move into a luxury townhouse. Then your old furniture looks incredibly cheap inside the new townhouse, so you finance a massive interior design hall. Economists call this the consumption cascade. That sounds complicated, but simply put, it means every new luxury purchase forces you to upgrade everything else in your life just to match its new baseline. Imagine buying a beautiful, expensive new tailored jacket, only to realize it makes your old shoes look terrible, which forces you to buy new shoes, which suddenly highlights how cheap your watch is. You are buying depreciating liabilities that merely look like wealth, vaporizing your raise before it ever has a chance to compound. Blind spot 2, prestige debt. This is the toxic illusion that because you can afford the monthly payment, you can actually afford the item. High earners love leasing European sports cars or financing $40,000 outdoor kitchen renovations. You are literally trading your future financial independence for the momentary, fleeting approval of strangers at a stoplight who do not care about you. Blind spot 3. Subscription death by 1,000 cuts. You tell yourself it is just $15 here and $12 there. Premium software, automated meal deliveries, exclusive fitness apps, curated monthly snack boxes. The modern economy thrives on these vampire expenses because corporations know human beings are inherently lazy. High earners are the most profitable demographic for subscriptions because your checking account balance is just high enough that a random $20 auto draft doesn't trigger an overdraft panic. You are bleeding thousands of dollars a year to services you haven't opened since 2023. Blind spot 4. Buy now, pay later illusions. Point-of-sale financing isn't just for cash-strapped college students anymore. High-income professionals are using these apps to finance stationary bikes, luxury vacations, and designer wardrobes. The marketing departments spin this as smart cash flow management. That sounds like a genius financial strategy, but simply put, it means you are too broke to buy a bicycle outright, so you are artificially inflating your purchasing power with microdebt. Next, we move to the financial literacy dApps. These are the brutal structural mistakes you make because the education system taught you the Pythagorean theorem instead of how marginal tax brackets work. Blind spot 5. Confusing income flow with wealth stock. Think of your finances like a bathtub. You are confusing the high-pressure water blasting out of the faucet with the water actually staying in the tub. It literally does not matter how hard the water is blasting if the drain at the bottom is completely wide open. Income is what you make. Wealth is what you keep. You can generate $400,000 a year, but if your lifestyle burns $400,000 a year, your wealth is a mathematical zero. You are entirely dependent on your next paycheck, meaning you are one corporate restructuring or sudden illness away from absolute ruin. Blind spot 6. The tax inefficiency bleed. You finally decide to be responsible and invest. You buy high dividend stocks or real estate investment trusts, but you dump them into a standard taxable brokerage account. Then tax season rolls around and the IRS legally shaves off up to 37% of that income. Financial advisors call this an asset location error. That sounds complicated, but simply put, it means you put the right money into the wrong bucket and the government legally penalized you for it. Imagine turning on the air conditioning in your house, but deliberately leaving all the windows and front doors wide open. High earners bleed massive amounts of capital simply because they refuse to utilize the tax-advantaged accounts the ultra-wealthy use to legally shield their money. Blind spot 7. Over-concentration in winning assets. This blind spot specifically targets smart, highly successful professionals. You work for a massive, dominant tech company, and a huge chunk of your compensation is company stock. The stock performs beautifully, so you hold it out of loyalty and greed. Before you know it, 80% of your entire net worth is tied up in the exact same corporation that pays your salary. You are playing financial roulette and putting your chips, your car keys, and the deed to your house all on the exact same color. If that single company takes a market hit or faces a scandal, you lose your job and your life savings on the exact same Tuesday. Now we enter the credit myth and the illusion of safety. Blind spot 8, the credit card emergency fund. Right now, a terrifying percentage of high-income households admit that if they faced a sudden, massive emergency, they would just put it on a premium credit card. You think a $30,000 credit limit is your ultimate safety net. It is not a safety net. It is a trap door disguised as a floor. Relying on a piece of plastic with a 24% interest rate for emergencies guarantees that a minor inconvenience today mutates into a suffocating financial crisis tomorrow. Blind spot 9, the illiquid millionaire. You did what you were supposed to do. You maxed out your 401k every year. You bought an $800,000 house in a great school district. On paper, your net worth looks incredible, but in reality, you have absolutely no liquid cash. In finance, this is called illiquidity. That sounds complicated, but simply put, it means all your money is locked behind a massive wall. Imagine owning a solid gold brick that you are legally forbidden from melting down or selling for 30 years. You can't access your 401k without triggering massive IRS penalties, and you certainly can't buy groceries with the home equity trapped in your drywall. You are technically a millionaire, but practically cash constrained. When a massive, once-in-a-decade investment opportunity presents itself, you have to sit on the sidelines because every single dollar to your name is trapped. And that brings us to the final, most lethal flaw in the high earner blueprint, blind spot 10, uncompensated lifestyle leverage. Because you possess a high-income skill set, you naturally assume your massive salary is a permanent law of physics. You assume you will figure out the serious financial planning later. So you aggressively scale up your fixed monthly overhead. You lock in the jumbo mortgage, the private school tuitions, the luxury car leases, and the country club memberships, scaling your expenses to perfectly match your peak earning years. In finance, this is called uncompensated risk. That sounds complicated, but simply put, it means you are making a highly leveraged bet on your own uninterrupted perfection. You are taking on massive downside exposure by betting your high salary will last forever, leaving absolutely zero margin for error if you ever lose your job. You are betting that you will never burn out, your industry will never be disrupted by AI, and your company will never undergo mass layoffs. When a sudden macroeconomic shift occurs, that towering fixed overhead collapses on you instantly. You are forced to liquidate assets at a massive loss just to keep the lights on in your expensive life. It is the silent killer of the upper middle class. Look at your massive salary like that leaky bathtub. No matter how much water you frantically pour in, it drains out because of these 10 structural blind spots. If you want to know why the billionaire class added trillions to their net worth while you were sweating over a utility bill on a 6-figure salary, you need to deeply internalize the ultimate wealth secret. Billionaires do not view money as a tool to buy things. They view money exclusively as a tool to buy time and leverage. Salaries are structurally designed for the working class, and they are taxed at the absolute highest, most punitive rates in the entire tax code. The top 0.1% focus entirely on ownership. They aggressively accumulate income-producing assets like real estate, index funds, and businesses. When the ultra-wealthy want to buy a super yacht or a luxury estate, they do not save up their paychecks. They borrow against the massive growing equity of their assets. That borrowed money is completely tax-free. For the true elite, their equity is their actual income. You spend your peak cognitive years focusing entirely on spending your paycheck, while the ultra-rich spend their lives focusing on owning the very systems you were spending your money on. Your salary is merely seed capital. Its only true purpose is to buy back your independence. So how do you permanently escape the treadmill? How do you stop being a high-volume consumer for corporate earnings and start building real multi-generational wealth? Here is your 3-step action plan to completely rewire your financial reality. Step 1. The liquidity shield. You must instantly sever your reliance on credit cards for emergencies. You need a cash-first financial moat. Not money locked in a CD, not money aggressively exposed to the stock market. You need literal, liquid cash sitting in a high-yield savings account equal to 3 to 6 months of your actual living expenses. This is your financial armor. When your roof leaks or your car transmission blows up, it is a minor administrative annoyance, not a catastrophic emergency that derails your decade. Step 2. Asset-first budgeting. You need to automate your wealth creation so aggressively that you never even have the chance to self-sabotage. You have heard the phrase, pay yourself first. That sounds like a cheap motivational bumper sticker, but simply put, it means you automate your investments so the money leaves your account before you ever get a chance to spend it. Treat your investments like a brutal, non-negotiable tax bill that must be paid before anyone else gets a cut. If you get a $10,000 bonus, a massive percentage of it should automatically route into your index funds or real estate accounts before the money even clears your checking. You cannot spend what you do not see. By the time you check your available balance, the wealth building is already finished. Step 3. Audit the high earner taxes. It is time to brutally cut the hidden subscriptions in the ego-driven prestige spending. You do not need a $900 car payment to impress strangers at a red light who are too busy suffocating under their own massive debt to care about yours. Cancel the streaming services you do not watch. Downgrade the depreciating liabilities. Stop playing the consumer game that the credit card companies specifically designed for you to lose. Your challenge today is to sit down in a quiet room and brutally audit your net worth, not your salary. Write down exactly what you own in liquid, income-producing assets and subtract exactly what you owe in consumer debt. Stare at that number. If looking at that final number makes you incredibly uncomfortable, good. That raw discomfort is the only catalyst powerful enough to force you to permanently change your behavior. Because at the end of the day, the modern financial system is a highly sophisticated, rigorously engineered game. But this game only functions if you voluntarily agree to run on the lifestyle treadmill written for the consumer. It is time to stop acting like a high-earning target and start acting like an owner. True wealth is not about what you drive or the zip code you rent in. True wealth is time. It is the quiet confidence of knowing you can walk away from a toxic boss tomorrow.
It is the ability to take a Tuesday off just because your kid has a school play. The ultimate goal isn't just a big number in a bank account. It is reaching a point where your past investments do all the heavy lifting, giving you the freedom to coast on your own terms for the rest of your life. That is true financial independence. I want you to leave a comment down below telling me which of these 10 financial blind spots you have struggled with the most. Do not be shy. Every single person has fallen for at least one of them on their journey. And if you are finally ready to stop trading your precious time for money and want to learn the exact step-by-step blueprint for building real, untouchable assets, hit that subscribe button right now. We are going to break down exactly how to execute that shift in the next video.